Welcome back to SEC This Morning. Peter Burns, Chris Doering. Follow us on Twitter at Chris Doering, at Peter Burns ESPN, where I will try not to anger an elephant because I know an elephant never forgets. Famous words from Coach Patrick Murphy. Coach, I'm holding up a number right now in studio on a number 1 to 10. What number with you do you think I'm holding up?
You're probably holding up number 8.
That is factually correct. For those who don't know, why am I holding up the number 8? Why is that so important to Alabama softball this season?
Well, preseason we were picked number 8 to finish in the conference, and then just last Sunday night, I guess it was, we were seeded number 8. To tell you the truth, I went back and I looked at all the, those nitty-gritty RPI sheets. Have you seen those?
Oh, yeah. That like 7,000 different numbers, and, you can get lost into the matrix with them. Yes,
and, there's different quadrants of teams that you play, 1 through 25, 26 through 50, and so on. And, I think we had 11 wins in the fourth quadrant. Our lowest RPI loss was to Texas A&M, which has made the tournament.
Right.
We lost once to them. I think they were 50th. But, I guess the main reason that, they put us at 8 was the fourth quadrant wins. We didn't lose to anybody that we shouldn't have lost to, but I guess we just had too many of those. But we're at home, hopefully, for 2 weekends. We got to take care of business against 3 good teams coming up in regionals. And then whoever comes out of Austin, the best part of it is we have the opportunity to play at home.
I feel a tinge real quick, CD. There's a tinge in that voice that you're not going to get you're not going to send a bunch of Christmas cards over to the committee this year, huh?
Well, it's just there was a lot of buddies of mine and friends and fellow coaches and stuff that I think it's become too much of a numbers game instead of look, they did this versus A, B, and C, and we were 9-1 versus top 10 teams. We beat Arizona at Arizona, which was above us, and they're a very good team. We beat Minnesota twice, and they're above us. We beat Florida 3 times at Florida, and they're all 3 very good teams, and they're all very they're warranted of a top 8. So some numbers jive and some don't.
You talked about it earlier. This was a team that was given not a great chance in the preseason, selected to be middle of the pack in the SEC, and now the extra disrespect seems to be par for the course and something your team responds well to. How has practice been since the announcement of the 8th seed, and what kind of chip do you guys feel like you have on your shoulder heading into the postseason?
Well, I wish both of you were sitting behind me in the Sunday night at the selection show because I had our 2 seniors behind us, and it was kind of salty.
Yeah.
They're very competitive. That's number one. That's what I love about the 4 seniors. All 4 are very, very competitive, and they've kind of brought a swag back to Alabama softball, and I'm really appreciative of that because they've been great leaders. But we, after the selection show is over, we have media there, and it's just a fun night for everybody. It's a tradition for 21 straight years. And then when everybody else leaves, it's just the team and the coaches, and we talk about, the 3 teams. And I said, look, it's over and done with. We're not gonna dwell on this. We're gonna focus on playing really good softball. And, you talk about the 3 keys of postseason softball really is good defense, great starting pitching, and then somebody comes up with a key hit. And that's, right. And that's what we're going to do this week. We hit for about 2 hours yesterday. It was kind of a light workout because we had a long 10-day road trip, and we went straight from LSU to College Station on the bus. And then we flew home Saturday night late. We didn't get home till about 2 a.m. Saturday night from after the SEC tournament game, so I could tell they were a little tired. And then today will be a little bit longer, and then tomorrow will probably be a longest day, and then the Thursday practice is NCAA, mandated the time and what you get to do and stuff like that. So that's more of a walkthrough for us.
Yeah, and you've had that success. 37 consecutive regional games that you have won. Of course, you had started the season 33-0, Coach. And a lot of it we were wondering, too, and I think that's why a lot of the media by the way, just full disclosure, me and Doering do not have a pick whenever the media poll is. So when we're hosting number 8, I don't want you to think that we were part of the 8th. So just want to make sure you knew that. But I think a lot of people thought
it's an LSU guy and a Florida guy, right?
Right. Well, right. Because we would have had you 9 or 10, to be honest with you, just because we're big LSU and Florida guys. But I think a lot of the reason why is because what y'all were, or lack of what you had coming back in the circle. But getting Montana Fouts and Sarah Cornell has just been an unbelievable, talking about the lineage of great pitchers and what you've had in the circle. And how hard was it to make that transition with those two ladies to understand, hey, this is what the greatness is, and it's Alabama softball?
Well, both of them, Montana, we knew, or we had a feeling that she was going to be good. It's Pitching is the most difficult position to recruit in the game of softball, because they might have great success in summer ball or high school, and then they come to college, and you just never know how they're going to transition from 3 good hitters to facing 9 good hitters. And the biggest part of it is, how good is your mental game? How can you take getting hit? And Montana is one of the best we've ever had, even as a freshman. I don't know if you watched the Saturday night game, but she was just very, very tough mentally, tough situations, on and on. Sarah comes in, and she was the CAA Pitcher of the Year last year in the Colonial, pitching for Hofstra. They had a coaching change. She contacts us, and I started looking at her stats, looked up some video, and I asked my pitching coach, Stephanie Prothrow, I said, Steph, she'll be the 5th pitcher. Can we do this? Can you do this? And, she's like, bring her on. The more the merrier. And the best thing about the pitching staff, Courtney Gettins, our senior from New Zealand, she kind of rallied around and kind of made it like a team within a team.
That's awesome.
We've never had 5 before.
Right.
And I had Lance Cormier, who's a former Major League pitcher from the Braves who lives in town, pitched at Alabama. He came to talk to us about what it's like to be part of a staff. And, his job was to get the guy in the 7th inning out and then go eat his buffet in the clubhouse. And softball pitchers aren't used to that. They're used to pitching 7 innings, 5 games a weekend, and it's all riding on them. So all 5 of them kind of bought into that staff mentality. And obviously Sarah and Montana just had terrific years. But when we recruit them, we talk about the tradition at Alabama, and we have a wall of former All-Americans for our outfield wall. And there's pictures of, I think it's 11 young ladies. And usually before we offer a kid, we walk them through the wall, and I tell the story of every kid. And I think on the current wall, there's 4 pictures, and just talk about what she meant to the program and some of her accomplishments and what type of person she was and what type of leader she is. And, and then I think after I'm done with it, they're like, I want to be on that wall. So those 2 probably eventually will be, because they both should be All-Americans this year, with the stats and the records. It's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
Coach, I got to imagine with that depth in your pitching staff that you guys are built specifically for this type of postseason baseball, softball, where you do play a lot of innings in back-to-back days and sometimes multiple games within the same day. How do you adjust? What's the difference between prepping for an SEC softball weekend versus going into a regional, and how you maybe manage players or just in general the approach to playing teams that you may not know as much about as you do the SEC foes?
I think the biggest thing is with our pitchers, and I'm really glad you mentioned the depth, because, if God forbid we get into if we lose a game and then it's double elimination, so it's a lot more games after that. We do have great depth, but then the biggest difference is, once the NCAA play starts Friday night, I'll warm up probably 3 pitchers versus 1, and then have the backup come in about the 3rd. It's kind of like I don't want to have to do a 9-1-1. Go get loose in 3 minutes. I want them to be able to say to me in the dugout, if I turn around, Chris, are you ready to go?
Right.
And the answer should be yes, sir. because they've already warmed up, and you never know. And that happened to me one time where I didn't have somebody, and it was a bad mistake. So that's probably the biggest in terms of the pitchers. I warm up 3 instead of just 1, and kind of another one goes to the bullpen later on.
And that's the nice part about having 5. And when you say Chris, I assume you're talking about Crystal Goodman, who is a pretty incredible story as well, too, Coach. I mean, just when you talk about young ladies, and Caleb Rowe told me a little bit about it, and just, we don't know how everyone has different stories, but Crystal Goodman is one of these players here in the SEC as a student athlete you absolutely pull for, and it's great to see her success here on the squad.
And, she's grown up so much from junior college national pitcher of the year to coming into, Alabama and pitching in the SEC on TV. She's from a small town called Long Beach, Mississippi, which I never even knew there was a Long Beach, Mississippi before we recruited her. Just a unbelievable story and a great family. And every time she goes out there, she gives us a chance to win. Like, I started her Saturday night. I said, Crystal, this is the goal. Shut them out, and we're going to get a lead, and then we're going to throw in Montana for maybe 2 or 3 innings. And she did exactly that. She pitched through the order twice. They didn't score a run. And then Montana had only 3 innings to finish. And, unfortunately, their best hitter and one of the best in the country had an opportunity, and people were on base, and she got the job done, which is typical for that Amanda Loren. So, but, Crystal, every single time, I think it started at USC on a Sunday. She pitched 6 shutout innings, and then she shut out Georgia, and then she pitched a heck of a good game against LSU on a Sunday where we had already clinched the title. And it was kind of I don't want to say a game that didn't really matter, but to her, it really mattered. And you could see it in her face and her body language. And we love that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, I living here in Gainesville, I've gotten to be friends with Tim Walton over the years, and learning his story about playing baseball and coaching baseball and making the adjustment to softball. I think it's kind of a cool dynamic for you. You were a high school baseball coach, right? And then ultimately transitioned into coaching softball. What's the difference between coaching men or boys versus coaching women? And how have you kind of changed in your approach as a coach, making that transition into softball?
Well, not there isn't a lot of differences. I think if a young lady truly believes that you care about her first as a person and second as an athlete, she will run through brick walls for you. Mm-hmm. And I try to make that abundantly clear from the very beginning. And, if you'd come into our clubhouse, you'd see a big sign above a hallway that says person in big bold letters and capitalized. And then there's a line. And then underneath that is the word athlete, and it's not bolded and it's not caps. And so I try to reiterate that as many times as possible throughout the whole year and their careers that, you can take me out of the equation. When you look down to third base and the bases are loaded and 1 out, and we're down by a run, you know that I'm going to love you no matter what. I'll have a smile on my face most of the time. And just, you can take the coach out of your worry. You don't have to worry about me that if you don't get a hit here, I'm not going to like you, And I think too many times it happens like that, and especially in summer ball. And I've seen dads actually punch trees at a ballpark when their kid didn't get a hit or gave up a home run. And I want them to realize that's not the case with me. And I think with young ladies especially, they appreciate that. So it's not it's not like a company environment where you get them in, get them out, and go through the next foursome or the 4 years. It's a lifelong commitment, and I think they realize that too.
I think they definitely appreciate that. The big question that I have, though, to you, and I think you need to seriously think about this, Coach, is it time for like a little just for men on the beard? Because this thing is starting to get a little bit white. I see that silver fox coming out. I mean, do you start, because I think Nick does it. So, I mean, are we going to start passing that around the department? Do I need to get Jeff Puritan and those guys on that, or what?
Yeah, Jeff probably uses it too. Yeah, you might need to. Haven't thought about it. I did think about, new season, new look, might get rid of it, so it might be gone.
Wait, are you talking about for next year? I mean, dude, there's no way you can shave the beard this season, right?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking about it.
Really? This is breaking news here because are you not a superstitious guy?
Not really. I mean, there's some things, but not a lot. And we always talk about, preseason, SEC is the second season, all the tournaments, SEC tournament, regional, super regionals, they're like 3, 4, and 5, and then the World Series is the end of the equation. So I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet.
I think, would you leave it up to, can you go and have on your next team meeting and call everybody in and say this is really important and mandatory team meeting, and really the only thing you want to talk about is put it up to a team vote on whether or not you should shave the beard or not?
I could do that, yeah. I would listen to them too.
See, I think we should do that. Let the girls decide. You're one of the right. You're one of this team. It's all together. Everybody bonded together around the 8. And let's make it a team vote.
Most guys grow a postseason beard. We're thinking about going the opposite way, which is
it's impressive.
Yeah, Tommy Deese, the old Tuscaloosa News executive sports editor, is like playoff beard is the best Murph. So I don't know.
All right, we'll patient. One of the other reasons why we'll be tuned in. Hey, you're fantastic, man. You're always great at the interviews. We love the game of softball. You've been an unbelievable ambassador here in this conference, and always great to talk to. So best of luck, regardless of what happens with your beard. I know you guys and girls will have a great postseason. We'll talk to you soon, Coach.
Okay, thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
There it is, Patrick Murphy joining us here on SEC.